What's going on, everybody? This is the Inner Circle Podcast, episode 30. We reached episode 30, which is crazy. But it's just me here today. Again, I'm in here in my bedroom, and I'm currently recording at 7:51 p.m. So this episode is gonna come out kind of late. So if you're waiting for it on a Monday, first off, I appreciate you because you're literally just one of uh one of the few people who actually wait for it on Monday every week. So I like to thank you so much for doing that. But today we're going to talk about something very important that I think is probably very important, very pivotal to today's time, and it's worship, which I don't really think is just pivotal to today's time. I think it's pivotal at all time. And honestly, I don't even know what the word pivotal means, but it's okay because I keep saying it. So we're gonna get into it. Um, So I was I was at work today and I was driving back from Alvarado and I was listening to worship music. And I was just thinking and I was just like, man, like so first off, I do worship at a church called Church on the Move, 1502 Houston Street. If you ain't at Church on the Move, then where you at? But I do worship there and so I was just thinking about that and I was just thinking like how how worthy God is of our worship and of our love too. Because I'm pretty sure I said this on an episode, but I was just thinking about love in general, and I was thinking about how much strength how much strength it takes to love. Because I used to think that because a lot of people, especially nowadays, they think showing love is kind of weakness. You know what I'm saying? Or showing not even just love, like let's say for example, just kindness in general. You know what I'm saying? Being kind to somebody whenever you don't have to be, or being kind to somebody when someone's being mean to you. Some people see that as weakness. But I started thinking about the Lord, and I started thinking about Jesus, and I started thinking about like how much strength it took to love the world, to die for it. You know what I'm saying? To die for the world. Like I can't imagine how much strength it takes to love the world like that. And I was just thinking about worship in general, and I was thinking about just situations in my life and the situations in other people's lives, and how some people in our church, when I see them worship, you could tell that they're going through something. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're on stage, for those of y'all who don't know, if you go to my church and you're listening to my podcast, first off, thank you, and secondly, I see everything on stage, so I could see all y'all. Not to be like, oh, like I'm watching you or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I see everything. You know what I'm saying? So when I see people worshiping, I can tell that somebody's going through something just by the way that they worship. And you know what I'm saying? And then vice versa, I could tell that somebody isn't really into it. And whether that's a hard thing or they just think I suck, which I mean, I don't blame you. I'm not that good. I'm all right. But I could just tell that there's some people who are going through something, and I like to worship in that. You know what I'm saying? I like to worship when I'm in that, when I'm going through something, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like my worship is more genuine, because at that time, I don't have it feels like I don't have anything to be thankful for, right? We always have something to be thankful for. First of all, we have life. That's number one, you know what I'm saying? We woke up today. And we just we have things, here in America. We're very blessed, I would even say spoiled. And I think there's always something to be grateful for. But there's times where there's situations too where it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for, and I understand that, and I think the Lord understands that as well. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to worship in those things. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I learned, and one thing I want to impart to y'all, is that worship isn't based on how you feel. Worship isn't based on your feelings. And that can be you can take that a number of ways, right? So there's some people who say, "Oh, well, I don't feel like worshiping because I don't like this song." Okay, well, first off, it's not based on how you feel about a certain song. Worship is never about how we feel. Worship is always about how good the Lord is. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how we feel, the Lord is always good. You know what I'm saying? And even if we feel good or bad, the Lord is still the same regardless, and that's why he always deserves worship. He always deserves worship. And I find it, I wouldn't say selfish, but I feel like there is a certain level of selfishness in it to make it about us. And you know what I mean? Because and sometimes we don't even do it on purpose. You know what I'm saying? Because we get so wrapped up in what's going on that we forget to that the Lord is good regardless of how we feel. And I would like to say to people who are listening, just worship regardless of how you feel, you know what I'm saying? And also too, there's some situations where you feel like you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like you got so many things going on, you know what I mean? And it could be a number of things. It could be your kids, your parents, your family members that are driving you crazy, or it could be your job, it could be your relationship, it could be a multitude of things, you know? And what I want to say is when you don't know what to do in that moment, worship always. And the reason why is because worship changes the atmosphere that you're in. Always. Worship always changes the atmosphere. And if it doesn't change your situation right then and there, it changes you inside of you. Because worship calls you to be changed. You know what I'm saying? Because I wrote right here, which I got from Rick Pino because I get text messages from him. It's like some little thing I signed up for. But it says worship is a declaration against anything that says God can't. So you might be in your life right now and you might be facing situations, and sometimes it might feel like, okay, well, God can't do something, in this situation. God can't, let's say, for example, God can't fix my marriage, or God can't fix my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like God can't reach my kids. You know what I mean? And God can't help me in my job, or God can't help me get a better job. God can't help me pay my bills, things like that. And I think worship is a declaration against anything like that, because worship is saying, regardless of that, God is still good and God can do anything. God can do all these things, because that's what real worship is. Real worship is celebrating who God is. Like that's all it is. It's telling God he's worthy. It's telling God that we love him. It's just a way that we show our gratitude for who he is. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, what worship really is. Because a lot of the times we worship things that aren't God. You know what I'm saying? And because worship could be, you could worship sports and you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Your favorite football team, your favorite basketball team, and that's where idols come in. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people believe like stuff like that could be idols, or it could be video games, or it could be your spouse, it could be your kids, and we have to really be careful to not put things in God's place. Because when you do that, then something's out of line, something's out of order, and then it'll begin to affect your life and you don't even notice it. And it just little by little starts to affect your life until you realize, hey, how did I even get here? And then you have to go take steps back and realize, okay, well, where is God? Where do I place God in my life? Is he in the center of everything, or do I put him second? And figuring that out, I think, will definitely help in life, because I think worship is so very important. Because if we look at it in the Bible, I put up a verse. So right here it's Acts 16:25, and it says, about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. Right, so they were worshiping, they were praying and worshiping, right? And the other prisoners were listening to them. Okay, so remember that the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly there was a violent earthquake, that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains became loose. Everyone's chains. Keep that in mind too. The jailer woke up, and when he saw the prison's doors were open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself, because he thought the prisoners had escaped. But Paul shouted, "Don't harm yourself. We are here." Oh wait, hold up. Sorry, I went too far. But yeah, so at once, this is where I wanted to stop. At once, because it goes on and on. Like he basically he uh he starts talking to the jailer, and the jailer's like, uh how do I basically become saved? You know what I'm saying? And they say that you have to accept the Lord Jesus into your heart, and you have to confess with your mouth that he's Lord, and then you will be saved, you and your whole household. And that's what happened later on. But right here, I wanted to stop right here, where it says, at once the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains became loose. So what I wanted to say was, not only does worship set you free, but it sets the people around you free. Because not only did their prison doors open, and not only their chains became loose, but every prison door became open, and every chain became loose to everyone who was listening. So what I wanted to say was worship at your house, worship at your job, worship when you're in the car driving by people, you know what I'm saying? Because not only does it help you, but it helps the people around you as well. It begins to change the atmosphere. Like I said earlier, worship begins to change the atmosphere. It begins to break open prison doors. It begins to break the chains in people's life, in your family's life, your kids' life, the people around you, and even neighbors' life too. I feel like we don't pray enough for our neighbors in our neighborhood, um, because I don't know, because I don't think I ever have. And now that I think about it, because I think we get so wrapped up with ourselves and our families, our friends and everything like that, that we don't even begin to pray for our neighbors. And the Bible talks about your neighbor a lot. And so even worship in your house, turn it up, so people could hear it, what I'm saying, be a light to your community. And because when you begin to do that, when you begin to worship, you see right here it says they were praying and singing hymns, and the other prisoners were listening to them. So the other people, so let's change it up. So they were praying and singing hymns or worship music to God, and the people around them were listening to them. Suddenly there was a violent earthquake, and the foundations of the prison were shaken, or the foundations of anything, what I'm saying, were shaken. So the foundations of, let's say, stress, the foundations of anxiety, the foundations of depression were shaken. And at once, all the prison doors flew open, and everyone's chains became loose. So I think that right there just shows you that worship does change the atmosphere that you're in. Worship does even help set people free that are around you. And I think taking that into consideration will help you in your worship, you know what I'm saying? Because not only do you do it because the Lord, first off, the Lord is good, but also too because it changes you, you know what I'm saying? And it changes your atmosphere, it changes the people around you. And I think worshiping in your brokenness will really really help you help yourself will help set yourself free, I think. A lot of us believe that worship or even prayer too. A lot of people think that it's supposed to look a certain way, and you see it in churches every day. People dress up a certain way, people talk a certain way, people do things a certain way in church. And I want to say that there's no such thing as perfect worship or pretty worship. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, we come dressed up on Sunday. You come dressed in your best clothes. You do your makeup, you put on cologne, whatever, right? And I think the best example of messy worship, because God honors messy worship, is when they broke when Mary Magdalene, I think that's how you say her last name. I always get it mixed up. But when she broke the alabaster box and she washed Jesus' feet with the perfume with her hair, you know what I'm saying? Because she went in there. First off, they were having dinner, right? They were having dinner or whatever, or lunch or breakfast or whatever it is. They were eating. So, um, and she went in there and she disrupted an atmosphere, right? Because they were eating, you know what I'm saying? They were fellowshipping, whatever. She came in there, destroyed the box, right? And she used her hair to wash Jesus' feet. So I'm pretty sure it got everywhere, you know what I'm saying? She's probably crying. I don't even know. She's probably crying, bawling her eyes out. It got everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And the Lord honors messy worship, you know what I'm saying? We do it, I don't think we should come to church just to look good. You know what I'm saying? Because you really get set free whenever you break out of your shell, when you break out of your comfort zone. I was listening to a song today, and I think it's called Extravagant. Yeah, it's an old song. It's not that old, but it was talking about like, I won't resist your love, basically. And I think a lot of us do that. Well, I think a lot of us resist His love, and it could be for a number of reasons. It could be because we feel like we don't deserve it, or you know, um, we don't want to let go of certain things, or maybe because it's scary. And because, I mean, if you really think about how big God's love is, it could be scary. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us don't like to accept love, especially whenever we feel like we don't deserve it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us resist God's love for us when it comes to worship, because, I know some of y'all have felt this, where you feel like you're in church, right? And you're worshiping and you feel this tug on you, right? and you're like, I don't know, right? Is it really the Lord? You start to question it, right? Is it really the Lord, or could it just be what I'm feeling, or could it just be the song? You know what I'm saying? And you feel like, oh, I want to raise my hands, but I'm afraid what this person might think, or I feel like I'm about to cry, but I'm gonna stop myself because I don't want no one to see me cry. Because I've done that whenever, even on stage too. Because it's not embarrassing. It's just it's very vulnerable. I think being it's very vulnerable, and that's why sometimes I want to. Man, to be honest with you, I want to. I just want to get on my knees and start crying on stage sometimes. Whenever I'm really feeling like the Lord, and when I'm really feeling like I just need to let some things go. And when you stop yourself from doing those kind of things, you're resisting the Lord's love for you, but you're also resisting your blessing, but you're also holding on to things that you don't need to hold on to no more. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a firm believer that, hey, sometimes you need to go cry. It's just real. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? And especially men, or like uh just people who've been through a lot. So I'm tough. I don't cry. You know what I'm saying? But I think crying is important, because it helps you release some things instead of you keeping it in all the time. Because you keeping it in, that's no good. So I think when we resist like that, when we don't make ourselves vulnerable like that, we we hold things in that we're not meant to keep in. You know what I'm saying? And um of course it can feel weird at first, or to feel vulnerable in front of people like that. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, even if it's your first, I can't imagine it being your first time and you feeling like that too. But at least in my church, I could say that there's a no judgment zone at all. You know what I'm saying? Because I could say in my church we really love people for real. And you know what I'm saying? Because we got a lot of people who come through who have problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have problems. The people in my church has problems. Our pastors have problems. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all human. And I think the transparency in that really helps with the vulnerability, because we know that we're not all perfect people, and we all need help. We still, regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all still sinners. We're saved by grace, but we're still people who live on this earth. We still have lives that we live daily. You know what I'm saying? We all work still. You know what I'm saying? We got kids. You know what I'm saying? We face real world problems. We got bills. All kinds of stuff. So sometimes life gets rough for us, and sometimes it takes us out of our ways and everything like that. And um, I just want to say, if you're listening to this, and first off, you need a church. You need to come to my church, Church on the Move, 1502 Houston Street. We'll release some things off of you for real. But if you're listening and you go to my church now, and you kind of feel like a tug on your heart whenever you hear worship, or preaching, or whatever it is at our church, and you kind of just feel like, I don't know, like, I don't want to cry in front of people, or I don't want people to look at me when I'm raising my hands and all that stuff. I just want to say that at our church, it's judgment free zone. You know what I'm saying? And that's I feel like that's the kind of atmosphere that all churches should be making, because you want people to be able to come and be themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all made differently, right? No one looks exactly the same unless you're a twin. But even then, it's not always exactly the same. No one thinks exactly the same. The personalities aren't exactly the same. We're all created differently. You know what I'm saying? And I think if God created us differently, wouldn't He want us to be uniquely ourselves? Because that's the way He made us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like setting these cookie cutter images in the church is leaving some people out of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what my pastor said whenever we're praying one time. And he said, if you're gonna stay at this church, if you're gonna go to this church, you need to be ready for when we have a homeless person walk in and he has a shower in 2 weeks. If you're gonna go to this church, you need to be ready for when the drug addict comes and he's on a number of drugs, and he's not even clean. He's high right now. You need to be ready for those things. You need to be ready for when a gang member walks in and he puts his gun down in front of the Lord at the altar, and his drugs and everything like that. You need to be ready for those kind of things, because that's how the Lord operated. You know what I'm saying? Because Jesus sat with sinners. You know what I'm saying? Jesus didn't come and hang out with the most religious people. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we do that. We do those kind of things. I don't know how we went from worship to talking about this, but I feel like this is important. But we tend to stay with the religious people. You know what I'm saying? but Jesus sat with sinners always. Everywhere he went, he sat with sinners. And if we call ourselves Christians, we should be doing the same. Definitely, we should be doing the same. We should be loving on people with no restraint, just like how Jesus loved us. We should be loving on people with no judgment, just like how he loved us. You know what I'm saying? Because if you, to the religious person listening to this, at one point you were unsaved. At one point you were sinning just like everybody else, and you're probably still sinning like everybody else. So you're no different. And that's one thing that I've always tried to instill in myself, that look, I'm not judging nobody's walk. I'm not judging nobody how they operate inside of church or outside of church, because I need to focus on what I'm doing. What am I doing? You know what I'm saying? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? What could I do better? And I think when you focus on that kind of things, it makes us all better as a group. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not sitting here, look at this person, look what they do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And you're just judging people when you don't need to be. And it's not no good. But coming back to worship, um, worship when you don't know what to do. Like there's a song, it's power for God is like, even when I don't understand, I'm still in the palm of your hand. Even when I don't understand, still I praise you. And that's powerful, man. Like, even when I don't understand, even when it doesn't make sense to me, Lord, even when nothing makes sense to me, even when I don't understand what's going on in any situation in my life, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen next week. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know if my marriage is going to last. I don't know how my kids are going to come back to the Lord. I don't know how I'm going to keep this job. I don't know how I'm going to get a job. All kinds of stuff like that. Even though I don't know these things, Lord, still I praise you. Having that kind of mindset will make you unshakable. Having that kind of mindset will make you unbreakable, because then you will understand that regardless of my situation, regardless of what I am going through, I'm going to worship anyways. And the devil is afraid of that kind of mindset, because then he knows there's nothing he can do to get to you. And when there's nothing he can do to get to you, he lost. And you won, because we're already winners already. The Bible says we're already victors. That the victory, that we share the same victory that Jesus did, that Jesus has, right? We share in his victory. That's what the Bible says, right? So we're already victors, but some of us are walking around like we're losers. Some of us are walking around like we ain't got nothing. Some of us are walking around like we still broke, when the Bible says that we should have life and life more abundantly. You know what I'm saying? Some of us are still walking in fear, when the Bible says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of stuff like that. And when the devil can, so because this is how the devil operates, right? If he can't keep you out of church, he's gonna keep you down. He's gonna keep you down in church. He's gonna keep you depressed. He's gonna keep you lonely. He's like, well, if I can't get them out of church, I'm gonna do everything I can to not have them excel where they're at in the church or in Christ. You know what I'm saying? And when you have the mindset of, no matter what situation faces me, no matter what tomorrow brings, I'm gonna worship anyways. The devil can't touch you. Nothing can get to you. And that's what I want from my listeners, whether you're saved or not. Well, if you're not saved, I want you to get to know the Lord, because I feel like it's just very, very important. I don't even feel like I know it is. I know it's very, very important to know the Lord, because when you know the Lord, you know yourself, because your identity comes from him. And there's just a deeper love that we may never understand, even as Christians, but I want everybody to be able to tap into that love. But if you're a listener and you go to my church, or if you don't go to my church or whatever, right? I want you to be able to tap into that, to where no matter what situation I face, I'm gonna worship the Lord anyways, because then that makes you unbreakable. It makes you unshakable. You're a tree planted by the river. No wind, nothing, no drought, nothing can take you out. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. This episode's probably gonna be unedited, to be honest with you, because it's already. Let me see, what's the time? It's already 8:16, and I'm trying to have an episode out every Monday, on Monday, and because I want to be consistent with you guys. But I just want to thank everybody for listening. For at episode 30, I just wanted to impart something to y'all, to tell y'all something that I feel like is very, very important. So to recap, worship when you don't know what to do. Um, love is strength. Definitely love is strength. And don't be so judgmental. You know what I'm saying? Um, don't be so religious. Remember where you came from. I remember that I feel like I talked about this in the I feel like I'm always repeating the same thing. But I remember there was a situation in my life where I feel like I feel like someone something wrong, and I feel like there had to be justice. You know what I'm saying? Like legally, like it's a long story. I'm not gonna get into it right now. But I was like, I felt like I was righteous in how I felt because what they did was legally wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I think justice needed to be served. And I thought like, oh no, what I want is right. And I was talking to my pastor about it, and I was just like, I just feel like this, and like, and he's like, yeah, I understand you feel like that. I understand where you're coming from, but think about how much you've been forgiven for. And when he said that, something just clicked in my head. Something just changed, and I was like, man, you're right. If I just think about how much I've been forgiven for, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I never got into legal trouble. I mean, except, I mean, I sped a couple times, you know what I'm saying? In the school zone, sorry. And I ran a couple stop signs and, you know what I'm saying? But I never done anything crazy like that. But even then, you know what I'm saying? I've still been forgiven for much, in life, and when he said that, it kind of checked me a little bit because I understood that we're all human and we all make mistakes. And I think when he said that to me, I let some kind of uh facade of righteous justice, which was really um anger and unforgiveness. I'm not let it go. And some of y'all may feel like you're right. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but some of y'all may feel like you're righteous in how you feel when you feel like this person deserves to be brought to justice, or no, they did me wrong, and I'm always gonna feel like this towards them. And you might feel righteous in it because maybe they really did you wrong. Like that mean, that guy really did something wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like something legally wrong, you know what I'm saying? That he could have went away for. And I'm just here to say that just think about how much you've been forgiven for, and then also to know that we're all human and we all make mistakes, and forgiveness isn't always for that person, but it's for you. It's so you can let it go because you don't want to walk around with unforgiveness in your heart because it eats at you. And but yeah, so remember worship even when you don't know what to do, no matter if it doesn't make sense or not. And worship changes your atmosphere, and it changes you, and it changes even the people around you. And that's pretty much it. I just want to thank everybody again for listening. Thank you so much for if you're listening on Monday. First off, you're a real one, and you should message the Inner Circle Podcast on Instagram at the_Inner Circle Podcast and say you listened to today because that's dope. And if you want to just DM us about anything, you want to talk about anything to us, you know what I'm saying? If you need prayer, or if you have topics you want us to talk about, you can DM us too, or you can email us too at no, it's not the underscore, it's the Inner Circle pod. No, it's the Inner Circle PD at gmail.com. My bad. I got a lot going on. And subscribe to our YouTube channel too. Um, we're eventually we're gonna try to do visuals eventually to where so y'all if for people who like to watch a podcast, so we're gonna try to do that. And our Instagram, no, I keep see what I'm saying? I keep getting mixed up. Our YouTube, sorry, is the Inner Circle Podcast. So if you type it up on the search bar, it'll pop up. You know what I'm saying? It'll have our logo and everything like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been fun. It's been real and it's been fun. My bad. But it ain't been real fun. So I'm out of here. Thank you so much, guys.